first thing, oh,
You're good. Go.
okay, the first thing that I wanted to add, in the first job when I was working with those film containers, that also commuting was very difficult because it was at Cicero and I think near Irving Park. So I had to use the public transportation streetcars and to get first to the loop and then go and take the second thing that took me there. Each way it was about an hour and a half.
Did they have L's? When you say streetcars, was that instead of the L or that's the L?
No, there was, as far as I can remember, it was streetcars. I thought. And then when I got this job as a stock boy, I started to take the IC train to Randolph Street and then just walk to Madison from there. And it was west of State Street. Now, but there is another thing that came to my mind that I should clear up. Susie asked me about if it was ever planned that I'm going to see my parents. Actually, I think it was more than that. I was not established then, but when I was established, then the decision was made depending on the situation where the parents would be living. They might be, I might have brought them to United States. Anyhow, starting in military service, I started to provide money for my parents from my corporal's pay, although I kept my pay, but the government was pitching in because they were declared as my dependents. So they would deduct money and then my parents would pay me back. And I continued to send them the money because the spending money the spending money for them would be provided by me, even though I was working low clerical positions and also going to part-time to school all the time. So that was correcting the situation, because there was never a closed case that my parents are connected to Zosha. It was an open idea. It was a closed case as far as understanding between Zosha and Maurice, but it was not a closed case between Zosha, me, and the parents, what would happen. But there was no reason to plan that they would come and live with me when I was uncooked product.
Right. So you were working as a stock boy.
Yeah.
Now we're in 1949.
Yeah, 1949. Then and going to school, and I remember talking about anecdotes. I remember the first course that I took was I didn't decide yet what I want to do. So the first course I took was English, but it was taken at IIT, the Illinois Institute of Technology, and it was pretty good class. It was a composition and writing, and I remember the instructor, the woman, gave us an assignment to write some story, some experience, and I wrote about the night before I got off the ship. The ship was already docked at that time it was docked yet in Brooklyn and was being brought. We were not even docked, we were outside of New York Harbor, but standing there. And I remember seeing the lights and everything, and I wrote what was going through my mind. And I had some problems with English, so I asked my Scotch aunt for one sentence that I really didn't like to say, and she suggested to write that I was wondering what's in store for my life or something along those lines. And when I got the paper, the professor liked the letter very much, the thing very much, gave me an A or A minus, But the only thing she circled was this, the store, what's in store, what's in my life. She says, this is too often repeated phrase. This is the only thing that she didn't like, what my Scotch aunt provided for me in literature.
You mean Joyce?
What? Yeah, Joyce, yeah.
Irish, no?
What?
No, she's Scotch.
She was Scotch.
From Glasgow. She's a Glaswegian.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I liked her skirts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and her bow. She always wore, like Sally
Yeah.
Rogers, she wore a bow. And always lipstick.
Okay, so you were in 1949 and even
yeah,
50.
Okay. Then I started to work for Moja, and I started to use the train, and I started to go to a night school at Northwestern, which was in Abbott Hall, is on Chicago Avenue near the lake, where the law school is also. And it was very good. As a matter of fact, I think I took about 16 credit hours there. I used to take 2 courses, I think, there to meet twice a week. I think I had either 8 or 16 credit hours that I was able to take at night.
How did you have enough money to go to school?
What I used to do, I used to borrow money from Jewish Family Service and then pay them off. So,
Tell
yeah.
how it was at the end
yeah,
of paying it back.
Yeah.
That's a funny story.
that's also is a funny story. So then I paid my tuition in 1951 for the second semester from January to June or whatever it was. And so I came and saw my caseworker. When I got the message, I decided that I don't want to use my deferment, that I'm going to go into the military. And I came to the social worker and said, you know, I don't know if I'll have enough money to pay you because I'm going to the army, but I'll pay when I come back. So he started to laugh and took this note that I had, how much money I will forget it. He said, just tore it up because I owe him probably about $80 or something, the Jewish Family Service. So I got drafted.
But you weren't a citizen yet.
No, I wasn't a citizen. You know,
So how could you get drafted?
my neighbors sent me a note, and I would be automatically deferred if I wanted to, but I also could serve. And the law about citizenship that was actually put into effect during World War II, that you got automatically citizenship after 30 days or 60 days at that time it was, I forgot which, expired, and it wasn't reinstated till 1953 or early 1954 because I got my citizenship in less than 5 years because of that, when I was already demobilized. So to
Wait,
say.
so when you went to Chicago, 1949, you were still living in this roomy kind of boarding house,
That
Next-
Not a
brownstone.
boarding house, just a
brownstone?
rented room.
a rented room.
Yeah, like my uncle had also a rented room. Or by the time I stayed there, Ludwig and Joyce moved out and took a bigger place. But I still stayed in the same old house.
Which
The
is in Hyde
brownstone.
Park, really.
No, it's south of Hyde Park.
Okay.
Hyde Park is 55, and that was completely different neighborhood.
Kenwood?
What?
Kenwood?
Yeah, 65, 22 South Kenwood.
Okay.
That's actually Obama's area.
Yeah, it's a Jewish neighborhood. It was a Jewish neighborhood then, wasn't it?
Yeah, a lot of not necessarily. Yeah, a lot of immigrants were there. That was very common that you had those.
Yeah.
Like in New York City.
Right.
Yeah.
So you were there from 49 to until you got drafted.
51.
50.
February 51. February 11th, I think I got drafted.
And then you went straight away to basic training?
Oh yeah, that's normally what you do.
Mhm.
16 weeks is the basic training.
Okay. And then when you demobilized, so then we got the stories from 51 until